So yeah, I wanted to say something about a social network and norm intervention that we are currently conducting in German high schools, specifically in 4 German high schools, 2 of which are intervention schools and 2 are control schools. And this is part of my PhD. Now it's changing. Because I'm currently doing a PhD at the University of Osnabrück. I'm employed as a research assistant, VMI in German, you would say, which means that I'm also teaching, and which means that I'm partially working in a project, but also working on my own PhD topic. My PhD topic is focusing on a transactional model of parental and adolescent intergroup attitudes development. I want to look at how adolescents influence their parents' intergroup attitudes, because like traditional research is more looking at how parents influence their children, but less on the reversed. And as we know from transactional models of dyadic relationships between parents and their kids, we know that they influence each other. And since I'm also really interested in social change and, power to the youth, I really want to see how adolescents influence their parents via communication and how we can promote that influence through interventions. So the idea of my PhD is to look at this relationship and then to translate the knowledge that we gain into an intervention. And that is really what I wanted to talk about today more in relation to the project that I'm in, that it's a lot on how research can translate into practice. And I love this position right now because during the master's, I was super interested in this, right? So I was interested in all the knowledge that we gained throughout the master's on intercultural relations, on cultural psychology, but then also on social psychology, political psychology at parts. But then I was interested in it because I wanted to, understand how we can promote change to make the world a little better. And that's why I love what I'm doing right now, because it really has this focus. And then it comes with so many challenges. Or people, you cannot believe how hard it is to actually do research that really focuses with people. Probably most of you can imagine, because I know that a lot of you already do this amazing kind of research and even bigger projects. But yeah, so I came to learn it the hard way. Let's see. So before I continue with the project and explain it a little bit about my teaching, because it's kind of funny that like the seminars that I'm teaching, because they're so close to the master's program. So I teach migration and identity. I teach a course which is called Advanced Perspectives in Developmental Psychology, but it's really more like promoting change in social psychology. We had that course at Oslo University with Thomas Schubert, and then intercultural psychology, and now also a seminar for bachelor students on how to transfer, like to bridge research and interventions practice. Yeah. Now let me introduce you a little to the project. So the project is called Together for Tolerance. It's part of a bigger project, which is the Inclusivity Project. So we have this one work package wherein we look at inclusive social norms, which is the main topic of the overall project in school settings. And we do that because schools and this phase of development in youth between 10 and 17 is really important when you talk about tolerance and norms and norm development. There are 4 pillars to the project, which is the scientific support, the social reference, the preservation of autonomy and the social norms. The scientific support. So this is basically what me and my team are coordinating right now, which is us monitoring the intervention, which is conducted in 2 schools. And we do that by with the help of 3 data collections. So the first one just started a month ago. We go to the schools and we collect data from all students in the whole school, which is a German high school, meaning from 5th to 12th grade. And we do that in 4 schools. And then the next one would be in June, just after the intervention. And then the next one, the follow-up one, would be in November to look at the lasting changes within the schools concerning tolerance and norm perceptions. So this is how a social network would look like. I don't know if do you see me in the camera? Like, am I the only one that is not seeing anyone? Okay. Because I also have this beauty.
Your slides are not moving, so I don't know if you're
my slides are not moving. Is it moving now?
Yeah, now we are on teaching.
Weird. Okay, so
maybe you are on full screen, but we only see the actual part.
I am. How and I
follow your story is fascinating without the slides.
So here's the teaching. This is school. And those are the 4 pillars. Okay, but so this is how a social network would look like. When we collect the data in the schools, we ask the kids a couple of different questions concerning their opinions, but then also like their tolerant behaviors and non-perceptions in the schools. And we ask them with whom they are friends or with whom they spend time, also whom they would avoid, whom they respect, and who is popular. And then with the help of these questions, which are social network questions, we can kind of paint this kind of network of the school. So we see who is connected with whom, and like also the kind of ties that exist between the kids, right? And as you can see here already, sort of, or also have this beautiful ball, which I'm playing, just kind of my stress ball, became my stress ball, but it's actually here for explaining the kids what it means, a social network. But then it's really nice to play with. So as you can see here already in the network graph, there are some people or some dots which are connecting more dots, or which are more important to hold the network together. And then there are some clusters too. And those are all things that are interesting to us. So you could analyze a social network within a school concerning ethnic segregation, for instance. So you could look at whether ethnicity plays a role in why and how kids form friendships. You can look at how they influence each other's opinions, but then you can also see who is actually important in that social network to kind of transmit those social norms. And these people we call social reference. We identify them and invite them to the intervention, and then that's when the actual intervention starts happening. So they, for almost a whole school trimester, we meaning actually our cooperation partners, like meet with them weekly and talk with them about social norms and tolerance, and also what could change in the school, or what is already good, what is not so good. I feel like I'm talking a lot already, so I'm trying to speed up a little. So these are the type of norms, or the specific norms that we look at. And then the students get the chance throughout those meetings to develop their own project day or week last year, because we already had a pilot study. It was a whole week that the kids planned for the school. And that is because the preservation of autonomy is really important in youth, adolescents' life. And they love it. They have fantastic ideas. And they, in the end, they know the school so much better than us. Yeah. And then again, data collection. So we evaluated and look at the changes. Important for the intervention is really that those social reference are visible to their classmates and fellow students, so that they kind of represent inclusive norms. Because the more their fellow students perceive the school to be more inclusive or to follow more inclusive norms, the more they would also adopt those inclusive norms to themselves, and then also their behavior. Yeah. To round this up, this is my last slide that I try to squeeze in to all of this. But now you don't see my, you see that there's another slide actually. No, these are some notes. But this was supposed to be my last slide. How did I get here? Because I guess this is important to many of you who are, thinking about either doing the masters or what they could do after the masters. And it really was kind of chance, I think. So I started the masters because I was interested in interventions. I was interested in social and intercultural psychology. But then doing the masters, I really didn't see myself doing a PhD. I think, yeah, maybe others could see it more in me than I saw it for myself. But then once the master finished, and I realized that I actually really enjoyed writing my master's thesis, I applied to a really wide range of jobs, and then also to PhD positions. This specific one was sent to me by a friend who's also working in the project, but in a different work package. And once I started writing like my PhD ideas, my PhD proposal, I realized that it's actually a lot of fun and that I'm really fascinated about this specific position. And I think this is really important. So I realized, like, the more I applied for jobs, I realized that it's just really important to have the passion for what you're applying for, and to listen to yourself and take the time to understand what you really want and what your interests and skills are. And then I think taking this into a job interview is helping a lot. Yeah. So how did I get here? I have no clue. The city was completely foreign to me. I had nothing to do with developmental psychology beforehand. Now I'm teaching advanced perspectives in developmental psychology, but I love it. I'm learning a lot. I need to learn a lot because I'm teaching also. So it's a lot of, also struggling and always trying to learn more, to be able to be the competent person that one wants to be, but then also to realize that sometimes it's just not, you don't have to be super competent and knowledgeable of everything, because in the end you can learn it along the way, and sometimes it even ends in better discussions and more curious discussions when you're open to learning.